What is up, guys? Charlie here with Char Media. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create your own t-shirt design for a clothing line that you either already have or one that you're starting up. So without further ado, let's hop into Photoshop and get started. Alright guys, so this is a really cool tutorial because whether you have a clothing line or you're just starting out, I'm going to show you guys how you can create your own t-shirt design by yourself at home. And this is cool because you can save some money. You don't have to go hire somebody to design it for you. And not saying that you shouldn't go hire anybody, but this is kind of cool to know this stuff. You know, it's a good skill to have. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys how you can do it at home pretty easily. And we're going to be actually recreating this design that you see in front of you right now. Really simple design, nothing to it. It's got this really cool grunge splatter ink color type texture to it, or concept to it, but it's a really easy one, and I'm going to show you guys just how easy it really is, because right now you're probably thinking, how the hell did he do this? And I get that a lot. So anyway, we're gonna get started. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go to File, New, and you need to start your own canvas. And the reason why is because this is, like I said in a lot of my other videos, this is the most important part. If you don't start your canvas off correctly, or your new document out correctly, it can really mess the design up in the long run, and you could be wasting your time. So we're gonna set it up correctly the first time, and that's it. Now I already have a preset made for my large shirts. I want you guys to think of this document like an actual shirt, okay? We're making the shirt space where we're going to lay the design on top of. Think of it that way, because that's really what it is. So I'm designing it for a larger shirt, not a small shirt. So this is a 14 by 19 inch shirt. So just to show you guys what it looks like on the right hand side here, if yours is pixels, you need to switch that to inches. And you need to make sure the width is 14 inches, okay? And the height needs to be 19 inches. That's basically it for that. And like I said, this is designed for like a full front shirt, but we're only going to be using the top portion. So it's just gonna, the design's going to be laying on the top part of the shirt, okay? And I'll show you what I mean by that. And so 14 by 19 inches, and you need to make the resolution 300. And obviously this is because it's a high quality shirt. We don't want it to be 72 resolution, because that's basically just for web preview and stuff like that. We want it to be 300 resolution because we are actually going to print this. And the RGB colors can stay the same for now. That's completely fine. And that's basically it. And you can leave orientation vertical. You don't need it horizontal. So that's it, guys. And then you hit that nice big blue create button. Really nice and freaking big right there for you. I don't know why I emphasized the big part so much. Sorry. I got issues sometimes, man. I just don't know how to talk when I'm teaching people. Like, you guys might think I'm doing a good job, but in my head, I'm like laughing at myself, because I'm like, did I just say that? No way. There's no freaking way I just said that. So anyway, that's what I think when I design. Anyway, so we're gonna move forward here, and we're gonna break the design down piece by piece. So essentially, what you have is you have a banner in the background, nothing fancy. Well, it may look fancy, but it's really not, trust me. And we have the text. So that's it, guys. So some text and a banner. That's literally it. And then some cool colors, but that's like the last part, and that's actually the easiest part in my opinion. But some people don't know how to use textures, but I'm going to show you guys how you can utilize that. But anyway, the main thing is the design itself, not the texture. But anyway, so let's go ahead and start off with the text first. And well, we're going to start off with the brand text, and then we're going to move on to the quality clothing code text, and then make that banner and stuff like that. So let's get started. So here's the original. I don't need that, so I'm going to create one more new folder, and I'm going to name this design, or tutorial. I'm going to name it tutorial so I know that this is the new one, okay? So we're going to go ahead and hit the T tool, and I have been doing this. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but I actually have all the resources to this design on my website. So I will also put that in the description below. You can go there, download it, and you can download everything that I use on this design, minus the texture. You're going to have to do your own texturing on this, but the actual design elements I have for you to download as far as fonts go. And yeah, so that's really cool, I think, and I'm trying to help you guys out as much as I can. So we're going to go ahead and go to our first font. And this one's going to be titled Grandma, I think. Yeah, Grandma Blues Personal Use Only. So this one's only for personal use, sorry. You can actually buy this font if you wanted to actually use it for something else. So anyway, we're going to start typing. So we just chose Grandma Blues Personal. That's our font. And now we're going to start typing out. What are we gonna do? Brand. Let's type out brand, and then we're gonna enlarge it. Enlarge it. We're gonna enlarge it. That was weird. Anyway, we're gonna make it bigger. That's basically what I was trying to say, but I can't get my words out. Uh, and all I did to do that is I double clicked on the thumbnail here, or the layer, and I can use this T icon up here and resize it, or I can do it manually like this. But I like using the little draggy thing. Makes things a lot easier. And that's it. So now we have our brand font set in place, and this is our shirt. Remember that, guys. This is the canvas of a shirt, of our shirt. And we're going to be putting the brand up more because it's going to be sitting on the top of the shirt. This is the very bottom of the shirt where your belly button would be. So it's going to be more up here, but that doesn't really matter right now. I'm just letting you know. So that's it. This is going to be a really easy one, guys. So now that our brand is set in place, and that can be your clothing line name, by the way, it doesn't matter. I'm just basically showing you guys, I'm teaching you guys what it takes to make your own shirt design. You guys can take the skills that I teach you and do whatever you want with them. So anyway, this is brand. And now we're going to actually, I'm just going to duplicate the layer, make it easier on myself. And I'm going to double click on the thumbnail one more time. And I'm going to go ahead and type in a Love for Thunder. That's the second font that we're going to be using. Again, this is actually a free one to use. You can actually use this for your brand, no problem, without issues. And then we're going to type out Clothing Co. Clothing Co. We don't need the period at the end. It's overrated. Anyway, okay, so now that we have Clothing Co., now we need to go ahead and type out one more text set, and this one's going to be quality. So just QLTY. We're abbreviating it, okay, guys? We're cool like that. We're allowed to do that. And we're just going to move that up real quick. So we don't need it just yet, and we're going to hide it. So we got Clothing Co. and then quality up there, but we're gonna hide it for now because it will go up here eventually. And the next thing we need to do is we need to create the shapes for the banner. And this is actually the funnest part, in my opinion. I really like making banners. They're awesome. Anyway, we're gonna kind of copy the width of the brand, but we don't want to copy it too much. We just want to kind of just drag it out. We don't want it to be too long, but we don't want it to be too short, obviously, because we want our Clothing Co. to fit in there. So just make sure it kind of fits neat around there, and then you can let go. And that is it, guys. So what you can do now is you can actually change the color to black, and we're basically matching our canvas black. That's not our canvas black, so we need to fix that. We just need black. I don't know why it's so hard. There you go. Now it's black. And if you don't know how to do that, like I said, go to your shape tool here. Once you draw up that rectangle, it will show the fill color. You just change the fill color to match the black of your canvas, which is black. So anyway, and that's it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add an inside stroke, okay? Add an inside stroke of white. And we can copy the same white. It's just pure white, so that's fine. We're going to copy the white there, and we're just going to make sure everything's centered real quick. So now we need to drag our Clothing Co. above the banner so it shows up in the banner just like so. And I'm just making sure everything's centered. And if you don't know how to center everything, do not worry. Just do Control A. That's going to select the entire canvas, and then you can use the directional, the alignment tools up here to align things. See? I didn't mean to do that, but you can use them to align things vertically and horizontally, which is really cool. Makes things a lot easier. Anyway, so now I have my Clothing Co. in there. I have my nice banner, and now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my banner one more time, and I'm going to end up doing it one more time after this as well. And I'm just going to rotate it. So what I did to rotate it, just to give you guys all the details, we're going to do Control T, and that's going to allow you to rotate it. See? So Control T, and then you can go to each corner and you can maneuver it or rotate it, okay? So that's it. We're just going to rotate it a little bit. Also drag down the size. Don't do the corner because it's going to resize it that way, and it's going to look like shit, basically. So we don't want that. Anyway, we're going to make it a little smaller. And then we're going to drag it below the other. We're actually going to drag it below everything. So we're going to drag it all the way below brand because we want brand to sit in front. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a stroke around brand right off the bat because I want brand to show, and I want to basically see where things are going to be lying and everything like that. So we're going to add a black stroke around the whole font of brand, and we're just going to make it yay big, just like so. And that's perfect. Now what we can do is we can duplicate that top banner one more time. This is like the last time, I promise. And we're gonna change it. We're just gonna resize it again. Control T, resize, and then position it for success. Man, I'm in a mood today, guys. I don't know why. I'm just in this weird mood. Anyway, so position it for success is what I said. You can say it however you want to say it, though. That's fine. Now I need to resize this one a little messed up. It's okay though. I was actually I'm trying to match the width, but it's completely fine. It's not a big deal for now. I was just trying to make sure it's the same width right here, right here. But the way we could fix that is just move brand up a little bit, and that fixed it just like that, no problem. And I am basically making sure that this banner is actually looking like it belongs together. Right now it has this ugly little gap, and I don't like it. So that's it. So clothing code set in place, brand set in place. Now we need quality. And guess what? We already have quality because we already typed it out. Now we can just move it right up in there and it's done. And we can also align it together. So what I'm going to do to align them together, because right now you're kind of, we kind of eyed it, just threw it in there, but it's probably not perfect. To make it perfect, you can select the rectangle, which is this rectangle 1 copy 4, and then the quality, and then you can use the alignment tools. See? And that's just, and we actually did a great job. We made it perfect the first time, but usually you'd have to do that just to make sure everything is centered together. I'm going to do the same thing for this. Yep, see, that wasn't perfect. It just moved up a little bit. So now it is. So that's how you can get precision. That's how you can be very accurate when you're centering things, and that way you don't have to worry about it later on when you go to print it. So everything's set in place, guys. We have quality, we have brand, clothing co. right there. Now I added one little extra touch to this design, and this is really optional. You don't have to do it, but I like adding random shit to my designs. So what I did is I drew out another rectangle, copying kind of the width of this, just like so, and I duplicated it 3 different times, is really what I did. And I made it a little shorter. So what happened is I have 3 of these, okay? Some are shorter, 2 are shorter, and one's longer than the other 2. So that's basically it, just like that. And they're perfectly spaced out. And then what I did is I converted them to a smart object, resized them just a little bit more, just like that. And that's already centered. And the reason why I know that is because I have my smart guides being smart, showing me that it is completely centered. And if you don't know what smart guides are, they basically are just rulers that tell you when something's lined up with something else. So we already know that our clothing co is lined up with our banner because I just used the alignment tools. So now this is telling me, the smart guides are telling me that these 3 little rectangles are lined up with clothing co, which is what we wanted. And if you don't see those, all you have to do is go to view and go down to show and do smart guides. So view, show, and then make sure smart guides is checked, and mine is, so that's why I'm seeing it. And then what we can do to duplicate this, because we have to add one to the right side, is just hold in Alt and drag to the right and then let go. And then we can do Control T, rotate or flip horizontally. And that's a mouthful, trying to explain all this. And then that's it. And then we can align those 2, and they are aligned. So that is it, guys, for now. Now, there's one thing that I don't like about these rectangle banners, okay? And that's this part right here. I hate those little freaking loosey-goosey things, whatever the hell you want to call them. I hate them. They're just ugly. So what I'm going to do to get rid of them is, first off, I'm going to duplicate this rectangle once so I have it copy. And then I'm going to convert this one to a smart object. And then I'm going to add a layer mask. And if you don't know what a layer mask does, a layer mask basically allows you to delete things off of that particular layer that you added the layer mask to without destroying the layer. So if, let's say I want to delete something, right? I go to the brush, I just need to make sure a solid circle is selected, solid ellipse, whatever you want to call it. So I'm creating a solid brush here. It's at 100% flow and 100% opacity. If I select black, guess what happens? Look what happens when I draw over it or brush over it, whatever you want to call it. See, it deletes it. But if I want to add it back, since I have a layer mask now and I'm selecting it, I can add white back, and it's going to add that selection back that I deleted. And that's it, guys. So white adds and black deletes. And it has to be actually a solid black color, by the way, or else it won't delete it all the way. So anyway, just like that, see? And now we can delete it without working destructively, because I can just delete this, see? And it adds it right back. And that's it. That's the beauty of layer mask. So that's a little dumbed down version of what a layer mask is, but you get the point. So anyway, that's it. We deleted that. Now we are set. All I wanted to do was delete that selection because I didn't like how they were like randomly there. And that's it, guys. So now we are ready to move on to the fun part, which is adding that wave-like warp to it and then adding some texture, excuse me, with that color, and that's it. So now that this is all in one folder, which is the folder I created at the beginning called tutorial, now that this is in one folder, I can go ahead and duplicate it. And I'm going to delete this one right here because that's from before. So I'm going to duplicate it and I'm going to convert it to a smart object again. And you guys are probably wondering, I'm sure, what the hell is a smart object, Charlie? You keep freaking creating smart objects. What the hell is a smart object? Okay, let me tell you. A smart object is basically an object or a layer that is smart. It literally is smart. You can resize it to any size and it's not going to lose pixels. Now, if it was a rasterized layer and you try to, let's say you try to upscale it, it's going to look really pixelated. But because this is a smart object, I can resize it going down and I can resize it going up and it's not going to lose pixels. So let me show you an example real quick. I think it's important to know this. So if I do this, and I want to resize it back all the way up, it's not gonna lose pixels. See, it's a smart object, and that's basically what a smart object is. But if this was a rasterized layer, let me show you what happens with a rasterized layer. Let's go to resize it, and let's say we want to resize it back to the original size. Look what happens. It's really blurry. See, that's basically why I did that. See how blurry this is compared to this. So you can really only tell when you actually zoom in, but that's because this was a rasterized object. In order to prevent that, you just make sure it's a smart object and then you can resize it. But you shouldn't really be resizing it anyway, to be honest. There's no point for that. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and do a warp on this, and we're going to make it look like a flag kind of. So in order to do that, all you need to do is make sure you're selecting your converted layer, converted smart object layer, which is the whole design, and you want to do Control T. And once you do Control T, you can right click and go to warp, or you can do it on the top here. Let me show you how you do it on the top. So Control T, you can hit this little warp icon right here, and that's going to do the same thing. And then once you do that, go to your warp menu here, and it says warp, and then you click on the drop down, and then you go to flag, and that's it. So we're adding a flag warp to this. And we're not gonna go too crazy right now, okay? We just want to do it a little bit. Another thing I want to mention, I didn't add these up here because I wanted to emphasize a clothing co. That's why. I mean, you can totally add them up there. That's up to you, but I just added them down here. That's just my preference. I mean, I probably should have added them up there just to stay consistent, but it's completely fine. That's just something I wanted to mention because I'm sure some of you probably like, why didn't you add it up there? So anyway, that's just something I didn't feel was necessary. But and another reason why I added it down here was because it needed to fill some space. So anyway, that's my logic behind that. So that's it. Now we have our really cool warp, and we are almost done with this design, guys. All right, so the next thing that we need to do to finish this design is we need to make this completely black to match the background, okay? Because we're going to be adding texture over this design. With some colors and stuff like that. So what we need to do first, before we even do that, is we need to go to our color range tool. All right, so once you go to color range, what color range is going to do is it's going to allow us to select a particular color, okay? And it just allows us to get a little bit more fine detail out of the selection, because if we just use the magic wand to select all this white out and cut it out, it's going to have like abstractions and stuff like that, and it's not the best way to do it. But to avoid those weird abstractions, we can go to color range and then select the white and then move the fuzziness up to like about 160 and then click OK, and that's going to basically do a better selection for us. And then what we could do is right click, and we could do layer via copy, and that's just going to copy the layer just like that. See, there's still abstractions, but it's okay. I mean, not as much. It is a better way to select, but it's kind of hard to avoid every single one of them. I don't know if you guys can see it on your screen, but if you zoom in, you have this white outline, and we're going to actually get rid of that right now. So in order to just get rid of that real quick, we're just going to add a color overlay, and we're going to make it black. So it's there now, but it just got rid of those weird extra white outline that was around it because we didn't select enough white. So that's basically it, guys. I mean, it's hard to explain, but make it black. It helps the print process out, because if you didn't make it black, they would go to print it and you might see those weird outlines that you don't want to see. So now those are gone completely, and we have our design all black. So it's matching our background. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start texturizing this design because we want to add that color back in. All right, guys, so now that your design is completely black, as you can see, it's completely black. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating 3 layers on top of that. One for red, one for white, and one for blue. And we're going to be able to force those colors within the black of this design. And let's go ahead and just create 3 layers right off the bat. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do red, and this is going to be white, and this is going to be blue. And layers do go in order, by the way. So white's going to be on top of red, blue's going to be on top of white. So that's how it works. So what we're going to do right off the bat is we're going to force these within the design. So we're going to hover over red and design in between, and you're going to hold an Alt and then left click on your mouse, and that's going to force it in. And you're going to do the same for all of them, so just like so. Now we're ready to go, guys. So if you guys have not watched my texture video, I would recommend you stopping here, pausing the video, watching my texture video, and then coming back, because I explain to you basically everything you need to know how to create your own textures and actually use them in Photoshop. So if you haven't watched it, I will link that at the end of this video and in the description below, so you have it 2 different ways. So I would definitely recommend you guys watch that before continuing this tutorial. Another thing is I linked some cool textures that are free on my website. If you go to my blog on my website, you can find all the resources to this design. So anyway, moving on, we're going to start adding some really cool texture to this design, and I already have one pre-made here for this design. So the first thing you want to do is once you go to your brush, you go to your texture that you made from watching the other video. Unless you already have textures, you can use those. I'm going to change the direction of this because I want this to be I want it to be vertical. Okay, so now it's vertical. Make sure it's centered, just like so, and that's it. And then let's say I want to resize this brush, right? All you have to do is use the brackets on your keyboard and you can resize them, okay? So that's it. So you can use the right one to go up and you can use the left bracket to go down. That's it. So we're gonna go ahead and select red now in our color palette. So if you go to your color picker here, just double click on this white and it'll pop up your color picker for the foreground color, and you can select any color you want. And I'm going to go with a more pastel red here. Just like so. And I'm just going to click once over here on this left side. Not too much, you know. I don't want it to be too overwhelming, but just enough, just like so. Make sure maybe you need to click a couple times, that's okay. Just like that. And that's it, guys. Now let's go ahead and move on to white real quick. We can go ahead and select white. I'm going to resize it a little bit. Do the same thing. Now, I need to do some editing though, because I don't want what was I going to say? I don't want too much white because there still has to be blue over here. So in order to fix that, let's go and add a layer mask real quick. Make sure black's selected, and let's delete some white real quick. Just because we don't want it to be too much white. We want it to be a good balance between all the colors. So I want white to be present enough. So just like that. What I did is I added a layer mask using the same brush. I just deleted some of that texture off of the white with that layer mask. And that's it, guys. And now let's go to blue, and we're going to do the same thing as we did on the other ones. We're just going to select maybe like a more pastel blue like that, maybe even a little brighter, just like that. And that's good. And that's preference. You guys can choose whatever color you want, just like that. See? And that's basically it, guys. And then we can go back to that white and we can add just a little bit more white back because there's some white on the top here that needs to show still. So that's completely okay. We're gonna add some white back. We don't want too much of that black showing through. And we can go back to blue, add a little blue up here just to fill up that space in the corner. And that is it, really, guys. That's basically all there is to this design. We're just gonna fine tune it with the brush selected. We're just fine-tuning the texturing, and that's it, guys. So now you just created your own shirt design using Photoshop CC or whatever version of Photoshop that you used pretty easily. So if you guys have your own clothing line or you plan on starting one, this is a great place to start. You guys can get your first design started today without any money at all. You guys can do it on your own. All you need is Photoshop to do it. So if you guys found this tutorial helpful, please hit that thumbs up button because it really helps me out, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I am Charlie with Char Media. I will see you guys in the next tutorial. Bye.